1992 marks the 100th anniversary of Alabama football, a century of champions that would never have been possible without the tremendous support of our great fans. I also want to thank our centennial patrons who have helped make this celebration possible. I know you'll enjoy these videos. Roll Tide.
Tell some people they can't, and they will. These are the people whose lasting image is molded by sculptors, whose names are found on buildings and streets and in history books. And a few of these people even ascend on into that most special ranking we know as legend. A lot of people had a hand in building the first 100-year history of Alabama football, but it was the Bear who gave it a coat of arms. Hello, everybody. I'm Keith Jackson. I never played college football for Coach Bryant. I'm not sure that I was tough enough. But in 40 years of covering college football on radio and television, we became friends. Maybe because we came from like backgrounds, dirt poor farmers clawing and scratching a living out of the ground. It was hard. You had to be tough and willing. You had to be tough to beat, willing to get up one more time, and that was the way that Coach Bryant went on to coach his young people.
Well, I like for them to feel confident. I like for them to be coiled and ready to spring. I don't want them going out there afraid they're going to make a mistake. I want them going out there with their head high, confident, reckless, arrogant, but show their class.
When you have made your way into adolescence and when the young, strong body is ready to be tested, there may be few activities better than a game of football. It sure beats picking cotton. When young Paul was ready to play, he got some cleats, screwed them into the soles of the only pair of shoes he had, and played in the first football game he ever saw. He was a tough kid. When your high school team is called the Redbugs, you better be tough. And it was in Fordyce, Arkansas, he acquired his famous nickname, Showing Off.
This man had a bear in the circus, and he offered $1 for anyone that could wrestle and stay with it for 3 minutes. They couldn't find anyone, so some of the boys kidded Bear. They asked him why didn't he wrestle it. So he went in, changed clothes, put his overalls on, went back to the theater where they were holding the show, got in the ring, and he got the bear down. The bear got on top of him, got the muzzle off, like to scare him to death. The manager that owned the bear came running in. He grabbed the bear and he pulled him off. The bear jumped over the ropes and ran out of the arena. The man took the bear and ran out the back door and didn't pay anybody. So he wrestled him, didn't get his money, but he got a name.
The young bear was a tackle with the Fordyce Redbugs, and that was where Alabama coach Frank Thomas found him. Liked him enough to give him a scholarship, and the story had begun. Twice all-conference end, a starter on the 1935 Alabama Rose Bowl team, a national champion team. Bear was the other end. Don Hutson was the man, the All-American, the star who set the records. But that was all right with Paul. He still remembered picking cotton. He was happy to be blocking and tackling and going places he had scarcely heard about. Bear Bryant was a good football player, good enough to get some pro offers, even over $100 a game. But coaching was where he was headed, guided a little here and there by a young lady named Mary Harmon. It was with the help of George Preston Marshall, owner of the Washington Redskins, that Paul Bryant got his first college head coaching job at the University of Maryland. He was there one winning season, mainly because he figured sooner or later he and President Curly Byrd were going to lock horns. And then like a rainbow came a letter from Lexington. Now, Paul Bryant was good, no question about it, but there were times when the man had uncanny luck because that letter from Lexington contained a job offer to be the football coach at Kentucky, and he took it for 5 years. And in his 5th year at Kentucky, Paul Bryant's Wildcats won the school's only SEC championship, went to the Sugar Bowl, and beat mighty Oklahoma. After that stunning football season, Coach Adolph Rupp won another basketball championship at the sports banquet. The basketball coach got a new Cadillac. Football coach got a cigarette lighter. The next day, Bear started packing to move to Texas. Once again, the Bear was about to go back to that philosophy he brought from Morrow Bottoms, that one about giving a little more than the other fellow.
There's lots you can learn on the football field. Start taught in the house, the church, the classroom. And I'm a pretty good example of that. And I think we do a great job of teaching that here.
He took his A&M players to a little dusty place called Junction and conducted what may well have been the meanest football camp in the history of the game. I mean, it was hard.
The Junction didn't look anything like a football field. In fact, you couldn't find a football field anywhere around the place. The ground was dry. There were cactus plants in the area where we worked out. There was some grass between the barracks where we stayed, but the main area where we worked was dry, hot, dusty. Not any footing, not any turf of any kind, a lot of cactus. Very tough conditions to work out.
Coach Bryant and staff came around and told us to get a fella and a couple of sheets, and we were going to take a little trip. Nobody knew where we were going or what we were going to do, and anyway, we got on 2 Greyhound and headed out for a little place called Junction, Texas. And we went out in 2 buses, and we came back in 1, and the 2 were full and 1 wasn't.
Only 27 players remained on the Aggie roster after that adventure at Junction. 27 hard nuts who would be the foundation for the undefeated championship team. And in 1956, that would feature Texas A&M's only Heisman Trophy winner, halfback John David Crow. He returned to Alabama because he said, Mama called. She needed it. There had been losing seasons and sinking spirits. The tradition was in danger of becoming a memory. The first chore when reorganizing, find those who will help, who will be that close, trusting group that will spend their energies toward a common goal. And there is this one other factor.
I want coaches that are brighter than I am. So if they're the same, they're brighter than I am, I don't need them. I don't want one that don't believe in my plan, but I know how to win.
Once philosophy is in place and understood, go find the people who will apply the principles being preached. Go find the players. Once you get them, then you got to sell them.
If you're not ordinary, you're not average, you're something special. We don't want you to ever forget that. And since you are something special, then I know that you can win if you put a little extra into it every day and a little extra into it in the game.